I'd like to introduce them to you.
And deportations.
Disruptions of congressional business.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem getting an icy reception from the hecklers and Democrats on Capitol Hill as she answered lawmakers' questions about global threats to the United States. One huge moment, Secretary Noem calling out the despicable way one Democrat congressman referred to the deadly shooting of 2 National Guards members in D.C. Watch this.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation.
If you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
And over in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, the governor, has come up with a new way to resist ICE agents in his state.
I'm here today to sign into law an expansion of legal protections for the people of Illinois. Together, we're sending a message to Donald Trump, to Kristi Noem, to Gregory Bavino, and anyone else seeking to terrorize our people. Your divisiveness and your brutality are not welcome here.
So, Jesse, we'll get back to the governor later, but I see Democrats passionate when they speak against President Trump. So why not speak out against the murderer of the one that went after 2 National Guardsmen and not calling it an unfortunate situation?
It's just an unfortunate situation.
Right. It's just crazy.
It's like O.J. Simpson that night on Bundy Drive, just an unfortunate situation. They always have these terms, like what did Omar say on 9/11? Some people did things.
Yeah.
Where they say Fort Hood was a workplace violence. They can never just call a spade a spade. It's terrorism. Remember the Obama years? We would try to like wiggle around what we call them. You know, if we could only give them jobs. They were just poor, hungry people that flew the plane the wrong direction. I'm glad she hit him back, and I can't believe he corrected himself and said the same thing. Benny, my goodness. What's going on in Chicago? Turley, constitutional law professor, who I think is the smartest lawyer around. No offense, Harold. He said this was purely unconstitutional. Not only of the Supremacy Clause, Supreme Court precedent, federal immigration law. Barack Obama went to the Supreme Court to say the federal government controls immigration policy, and he won. Arizona lost. And you cannot set up little enclaves where it's like, what can Pritzker say in this block the IRS can't enforce the tax code? No, of course not. The dumbest thing is they have this other little clause that's 1,000 feet away from the courthouse. You can't have ICE agents do their job. So some migrant can just lease an apartment 500 feet from a courthouse and just sit there? And he could just live in a little sanctuary apartment? It's insane, and it's going to get knocked down.
Harold, since you're the other legal mind, is it constitutional or not?
On the face of it, Lawrence, it doesn't. You can't. A governor can't usurp federal law. A governor can try to bring attention to something, but I don't know if this here will stand constitutional muster. But what I can't quite figure out. Benny Thompson, I've known for a long time, and maybe was going to correct himself. That was an obvious attack on 2 federal law enforcement, two military officers doing their jobs, and I'm hoping he feels that way, and I trust he does. I've known him a long time. On the Governor Pritzker thing, what I don't understand, Lawrence, is if you are an illegal immigrant or you're here legally and you're showing up at court for your asylum hearing or you're showing up for some legal adjudication, it doesn't seem fair to me if you're following the law to be able to be arrested at the courthouse. Now, that may be separate from, as I read what Governor Pritzker, it seems more sweeping what he has done, and I think Professor Turley may have the law right there. One thing we know, these things will get litigated. All we do is litigate stuff these days, and things are challenged. I've been a believer for the longest of times that these governors ought to go to the White House, sit with the president to the extent they can, and figure out ways in which to cooperate to get the worst of the people out of here. And where they have differences on the other stuff, let those differences play themselves out. But you asked me a basic question. It sounds like on the face of it, Professor Turley is right.
Well, there's some cases where people show up to their court hearings, asylum hearings, but they have a DUI case as well. So there are criminals that are going through the legal process but have other criminal charges against them as well.
But they shouldn't be legally, though. If you're
They should be arrested.
No, but wait. If you're going to ask me a question about Professor Turley, you can't go outside of the law. If you have a DUI case, then you have to show up for your DUI case. But if you have an asylum,
No, you said that it doesn't make sense if people are going to their legal proceedings
Right.
that the administration arrests them. But if you go to your civil proceedings and you have criminal charges against you, I want you gone.
Right, but they're not. Those aren't federal. But anyway, I answered your question on. I was on the level. You're not being on the level there, but I got you. I was on the level with you.
Dana, Mandami said he was going to work with the president when it came down to some of the immigrants that was here with ICE and all of that.
We'll see.
But now it looks like he's backtracking a little bit. Why is that?
Well, I think people do this they do it in politics a lot, right? But for example, you might have to run in your primary to the far right or to the far left, then you'll want to govern in the middle. But Mandani sort of like campaigned in the far left, pretended down at the White House that he was going to work with the president, then comes back and he cuts a video saying, actually, here's a way that you can get out of going, that you don't have to deal with ICE. But I think I'm willing to wait and see what happens. Maybe we'll be surprised, and that would be a good thing. On J.B. Pritzker, we just talked about Governor Newsom, who wants to run for president. J.B. Pritzker is also making no secret that he also has that kind of ambition. And I just feel like, wow, Governor Newsom is like literally running circles around him.
Right.
I mean, if you think about Governor U-Haul in California, like think about Illinois. This is like Katie bar the door. Everybody wants to leave. The kids can't read. You've been there. You've done all the crime reporting from there. Their investments are horrific. The taxes are terrible. The lawsuits are awful. Like this is not a state you want to emulate. But Governor Pritzker, he spends most of his time talking about immigration to go after Trump, when I actually think when it comes to the things that people are happy about what Trump is doing, on the border, yes, maybe on the other immigration stuff, maybe not so much, but overall, he gets high marks on that.
Kennedy, the way I see it is it's an easy deal that can be done. Most people agree with what the president has done at the border, but there's some ambiguity with what's happening with some of the immigrants. So the Democrats, all they have to do is give the president a bill that they can agree on, give him permanent border security so this never happens again, but no one has been willing to take that meeting.
No, it's surprising. Neither party wants to do that when they've got the presidency and both houses of Congress, but that is what is so incredibly necessary here. And I don't think we're going to see comprehensive immigration policy passed under any Democrat or Republican president for whatever reason. They really don't want to touch it. They don't want the responsibility. So what we're stuck with is a shifting set of rules based on executive order and immigration trends. And the problem is the pendulum is swinging to such incredible extremes. The people who think that they were playing by the rules and doing the right thing because they were told that are now living under a completely different set of rules, and they don't know what to do with themselves. So the problem within the administration is you have people like Tom Homan who want to get the very worst out of these cities. Right. And if that were the strict policy they were adhering to, I think you would have the more moderate governors and mayors agreeing with that and relaxing some of their sanctuary city policies if it could truly make their cities safer, because that is the best sell to their voters. Right. Unfortunately, you do have people in this administration that want to arrest everybody, and they want as many bodies and as many deportations as possible because they want to meet some quota. And that means that you are going to be losing Hispanic support because the president appealed to human nature. But unfortunately, you've got, with immigration, you've got Democrats who want to extend a halo to every person who's in this country illegally, including the most violent felons. And then you've got people in the administration who want to paint them all as villains. And, you know, most people who are living lawfully, they don't really exist on either side, but you have to be realistic about who has to get out of this country.
But I wouldn't worry about Hispanic support. We got hit so hard over the head for so many years about that. Trump built a border wall and ran on mass deportations, and his Hispanic numbers went up. And he could get a little more cooperation in these sanctuary cities. He could go right into the jails and peel these guys out. New York has released 7,000 criminal migrants into the streets. They won't honor detainers. So it makes it difficult. And you have to sweep these neighborhoods. And yeah, you're going to pick up some people that maybe just broke the law when they broke into the country. If you could do targeted operations with the cooperation of the Democrats, you get out the worst first.
What Kennedy said is what I agree with. If they played it and articulated the way she just said, if that was the policy, every mayor and every Democratic governor is saying we're going to get out the worst of the worst. The challenge has been, and Kennedy said it so well, the hierarchy of deportations. You do have a handful of Democrats that want to just ignore everyone. You have those in the White House, including senior people, who said we ought to swoop up everyone.
Wait.
If they came in and said we want the worst of the worst,
we
you'd
did.
have every mayor.
Los Angeles.
No, that's not true, Judge.
New York City, Chicago, the 3 major metropolitan areas will not cooperate with Tom Homan.
Because they're not doing it.
So why
the
are you
way-
saying that you're willing to cooperate when right out of the gate you weren't, Harry?
I'm with Kennedy. Then
Okay,
take us
be
both
with Kennedy.
on. We're
I'll
both
be
on
right
this.
over here.
We're on this. We're this one together.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.